Hi everyone, welcome to our Java application deployment on the on-prem Kubernetes cluster using Helm. In this video, we are going to demonstrate the deployment of Java applications on the on-prem Kubernetes cluster using Helm. The complete process is orchestrated through the Jenkins pipeline. The tools which are used in this will include some few DevOps tools. First of all, we have GitLab, which will act as our source code management tool. Secondly, we have Jenkins for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Our third tool will be Maven, which we use to build our Java application, our build tool. Then we have SonarQube for code quality checks, which will act as our testing tool. The next tool will be JFrog for our Artifactory management and Docker image registry. Then we use Kubernetes for our container orchestration, Helm, our Kubernetes package management, and last but not the least, Docker for containerization. Let us explore the stage-by-stage workflow of our deployment. First, the Jenkins job will pull the Java application source code from GitLab using a webhook which has been configured such that any commit on a particular branch will trigger a build on Jenkins. The next step, the Java application source code will be built using the Maven plugin in either the Jenkins master or slave server. In case of any failure in this step, the pipeline will be aborted. In the next step, Jenkins will use the SonarQube scanner plugin for continuous inspection of code quality, performing automatic review with static analysis of our code to detect any bugs, code error, or any security vulnerabilities, and that is how SonarQube helps in this pipeline, helps to check our code for any vulnerability. When the code does not meet quality standards, an alert mail will be triggered to the development team and the pipeline will be aborted. When the code does meet the quality standard, the archived Java application package will be pushed to the JFrog Artifactory. The Docker image will be built using the Docker file and pushed to the JFrog Artifactory. In the final stage, Jenkins will deploy the application using the Helm chart, which will perform the following task. First, it will create a deployment on the on-prem Kubernetes cluster, which will create a replica set, which will then in turn create pods using images pulled from a JFrog Artifactory. The Java deployment will be exposed as an external service and will use provisioned layer 4 load balancer to expose the application on the predefined IP address. Now let's see how the continuous integration and continuous deployment of the Java application happens on the Jenkins pipeline. Let us trigger the Jenkins pipeline for Java application deployment. In the first step, as you can see, the Jenkins pipeline is preparing the repo and the git config. In the next step, the Jenkins pipeline is pulling the source code from GitLab, which contains the Java application source code, Docker file, and the Kubernetes Helm chart. In the next step, the Jenkins pipeline is building the Java source code using the Maven plugin either in Jenkins, master server, or slave server based on the target operating system. In the next step, SonarQube analysis is getting executed and validated against the quality gate. As the quality gate is passed, the Jenkins pipeline is completed and the build binary package is pushed to our JFrog Artifactory. Then the Docker image will be built using the Docker file and pushed to the JFrog Artifactory. In the final stage of deployment, the Jenkins pipeline will deploy the container and expose the application via the layer 4 load balancer on the on-prem server. Now it's completed, let us check the load balancer IP address for the application. You can access the load balancer IP address in the browser, and this is a Java application that was deployed on the on-prem Kubernetes cluster. Let us see the continuous integration and continuous deployment now in action. As a developer, let me make a visible change in the source code via the GitLab UI and see how the changes are automatically deployed into our servers. Here I'm changing the heading in the application, which will be visible after the automated deployment. I commit my changes. Now let's see how the Jenkins pipeline has been triggered automatically via the webhook as the administrator user. The pipeline is getting completed. Now the changes should be updated. Let's go and refresh our page. Now there is the complete workflow of the Java application deployment on the on-prem Kubernetes cluster with Helm.